I got a comment while I was streaming asking a lot of questions about ground realistic. So I decided to make a video for players who are new to ground or maybe wanting to move into ground RB, maybe you were playing arcade. Many years ago when I first started playing this game, I was thrown directly into the deep end. My friend made me download this game, and he just laughed as I struggled through trying to learn ground realistic. If you're a brand new player to the game, you may think the solution is just to buy a high tier premium tank, but please hear me out. That is not a good idea because you do not know the basics. You have to learn these before you can start to advance. The first thing we should talk about is what country you're playing. If you're a brand new player, I recommend sticking to the big three: USA, Germany, and Russia. These are the best countries to start out when you're a brand new player because their tech trees have a lot of options and also many different types of playstyles. And since these tech trees are so large, they can allow for large lineups, which we will talk about in a little bit. If you have quite a bit of experience in War Thunder, then I'd recommend some of the smaller countries, as this will give you a different kind of playstyle than what you may be used to. The United States is considered the jack of all trades, but the master of none. They may not be the most overpowered, but almost none of their vehicles are bad. Meanwhile, Germany focuses more on firepower and armor, but they do have limited mobility. All of this is great for charging, but not great when you need to retreat. And Russia focuses on firepower and mobility. While they do have lighter armor in comparison to German vehicles, it usually has great angles to protect you from enemy shells. These are just the stereotypes of these countries. It does not mean that they don't have other vehicles that may have different kinds of playstyles. Now, one of the really poor things that Gaijin does with this game is setting controls. So I'm going to give you a couple things to bind in order to make sure that, at least through World War II vehicles, that you'll be all set. The first thing we want to get bound is the rangefinder. This will allow you to find the range between you and your target so that you can set your gun accordingly. What coincides with that is the sight distance control. This allows you to automatically move your gun without moving your sight so that you can hit targets a lot easier from range. This one is more for console players, as Gaijin decided that they would screw you over and make these controls the same thing, and it's to separate your firing from the primary and secondary weapons. This will ensure that your machine gun isn't firing while you're trying to fire your main gun, and that will prevent people from trying to see where you are because of the tracer rounds. Next is the Stealth Master trick of turning your engine on and off. This will also prevent people from hearing your engine because that is a big indicator of where you might be. The last of these controls is the set target for squad. This will put down a yellow marker for you and also your green friendly teammate so that you can better communicate with each other, and also you can use it for precision artillery strikes if you see an enemy. As you can see in this clip, my friend was being shot at and he put down a marker so I knew where the target was, so I went and helped him and I was able to save him. And there's one piece of audio that we have to change. We have to make sure that we put our engine sound to its absolute minimum, while we also maximize other players' volume. Now, over time, this may cause a little bit of War Thunder-induced schizophrenia, but don't worry, contact your doctor, you could be entitled for compensation. But changing these values will altogether help you in order to locate other engine sounds and where they are coming from. Now it's time to create a lineup. As you can see here, I have a full 5.7 United States lineup. You may say that you may not ever need that many vehicles, but in all honesty, you would be surprised. Bringing a full lineup also allows you to stay in the battle a lot longer. Now, this is all dependent on your spawn points, which you will earn by just doing everything in the battle, from hitting people to capping points to also getting kills. Gaijin does something a little sneaky though. They hide your rewards behind a hidden thing called activity percentage. The higher that activity percentage, the more of that reward that you will actually earn. So the longer you're in battle, the more rewards you will actually be earning, depending on how much you do. You don't have to be a crazy person like me and sell your soul to the snail just to have these crew slots. At least buy the ones that do cost Silver Lions. The Golden Eagles ones, I would only recommend if you really feel like you want to add more vehicles to that lineup, or if you feel like you need the extra crew slots. Now we can start talking about things to actually consider while playing in-game. I enlisted the help of my good friend Bean Turtle in order to help me show you some of these things that may happen in a ground battle. So make sure to show him some love and also go subscribe to his channel. The first thing we need to talk about is cover versus concealment. Concealment is a stealth tactic in order to hide from an enemy, but you do not have anything protecting you. To show you how concealment works, let's play a game. You have 5 seconds, find the tank. Did you see him? Now, if you are going to use concealment, I highly recommend that you get 1, maybe even 2 kills, and then you have to move out of the way. This is because the War Thunder system gives you a kill cam whenever you die, so the enemy will know exactly where you are if they know the maps very well. Now that leads us to our next topic of cover. As you can see right here, I'm using a rock as cover so that I can peek over it and the enemy can't see me. What makes cover better than concealment is the fact that nobody will be able to hit you as long as you're behind the cover. However, this is a double-edged sword because you also will not be able to hit them unless you expose yourself. So let's play another round of Spot That Tank. There he is. So in that sort of situation, I would recommend just hitting the track and tracking them so then they can't move so that you can flank around and kill them. Up next is range finding. So we've already bound the rangefinder and the sight distance control, so let's put it to good use. You'll see here I see this tiger, so I move my cursor over to it, set the squad marker, use the rangefinder, and then I'll set my gun accordingly so that I can hit him. This is still considered a relatively short range shot, so you don't have to set your gun always. Also keep in mind that the rangefinder skill does matter because it could give you error if you have a low crew skill level for it. Bean Turtle and I also have a very funny joke about vision is based on movement, and this is 100% true in War Thunder, as we'll show you right here. Now, I don't feel like playing another round to Spot That Tank because I'm lazy and I've been putting off this video for way too long, but we're using a Tiger 1, so it's a very large vehicle. So you can see that Bean Turtle was very stationary. It was a little hard to see him, but then once he starts moving, it's very easy to spot him. This is very apparent if you have a very low keen vision stat on your crew skills. If you have a low keen vision stat, if an enemy is staying completely stationary, they will eventually become invisible to you. Bean Turtle also gave me the great idea to talk about the exhaust of vehicles. As you can see, this Tiger puts off a lot of exhaust, but a dead tank won't put off any exhaust because the engine is completely destroyed. So if you're looking from a range and you're not sure if something is dead or not, look for an exhaust plume, as that could tell you if they're dead, and it will also help save you from firing and giving away your position. This next skill will definitely take your War Thunder skills to the next level. When I first started playing the game, I played with no audio, and I was always super confused on how people knew where I was at almost all times. So we're going to talk about engine sounds and how you can tell where they're going based on the engine sound. And we use the Tiger H1 again because German engines are very distinctive and also very loud. I also recommend using headphones during this part so that you can tell which direction the vehicle is moving based on the sound difference. So you see, those sound cues can give us a lot of information about what is happening. We knew he was moving to the left, and sure enough he did, so that we could move our turret in advance in order to kill him. Now, the part that I see a lot of people not taking advantage of is minimap usage and situational awareness, along with also scouting. This can give your team the situational edge in order to beat the enemy. You can see here I'm looking out for an enemy, and I notice that one of my teammates scouts someone, so I quick turn around and help him out. 2 guns is better than 1 in order to kill an enemy. A little rule of thumb I use for this is a 90% rule. So 90% of the time you should be playing the game, 10% look down at the minimap so that you can know what is happening on the battlefield. But that also plays in part with vehicle advantages. Not every vehicle can kill every other vehicle. Sometimes you just have to know when to pick your battles. Some vehicles are just better to avoid in general versus trying to fight them head on. However, if you have questions about a specific vehicle that you would like to know its advantages and disadvantages, let me know in the comments and I may make a short about it. Now we can talk about some map knowledge and also player habits. War Thunder players are also creatures of habit, so they will tend to play in one particular playstyle on all maps. Here we have the map Fields of Normandy. Now this is one of my favorite maps because the playstyle is very fun for me, and I've also gotten a couple nukes on this map. We will be spawning on the blue side. I know if you choose the top spawn, you're going to be rushing to the A point. However, I wouldn't recommend that because it is a slaughter over there. I would let your other teammates try to worry about the A point, so we'll say that they are going to go there. We can also assume that the enemy team will be doing the same thing as well. So what I like to do is I like to spawn on the bottom spawn and head toward the B point, as there is a bit of cover there, and also you can oversee most of the battlefield. Once you get close to the B point, I recommend taking a look into the enemy spawn because people will be headed to the B point as well. So we'll assume that people will be coming from this direction. Once we've taken out that first wave of enemies coming to the B point, we'll then start to move our attention to A and help them out. Because we will have side shots on the enemy, it will be a lot easier to kill them. This is my strategy for only first spawn. After your first death, it becomes kind of a free-for-all because you never know what's going to happen or how the battle will unfold. So just like I said before, make sure to watch the minimap and see what's going on. Now, I won't divulge all of my plans for every single map, but this is something that you can do. You can start to develop your own kind of plan of action for every map in the game. But just be aware this does take time to develop. I've been playing for multiple thousand hours, and there's still some maps that I have no idea how to play properly. Another really big thing to help you play is to find a community to play with. I would say this is probably the single most important thing in order to develop your skills while playing War Thunder. Not only can you learn from these people, but also they're just great people to play with. I've found that I enjoy this game the most when I have people to actually play it with. The easiest way to do this is to actually join a squadron. Joining a squadron will also get you some free squadron vehicles, as you play, you'll earn activity points in order to unlock these vehicles. It may be a little difficult to foster community with some of these, as a lot of them don't communicate very well with each other. You could also try to get a friend to also play War Thunder, be it you met them through work, school, or other methods. This is another great way in order to enjoy the game and also start to get better together. This can also help with situational awareness, as you can run together and help each other out. Another method for doing this is to find a War Thunder community. You could do this through Discord, Reddit, or any other features. However, I do need to put a shameless plug for the 69 DLR Discord. This is my squadron that I'm in. We also have Bean Turtle and a couple other content creators in here. If you're looking for advice or any way to improve your game or just people to play with, come join us and we'll help you out. And if you're wanting to join, the link will be in the description. And as we start to close this, I'll start to give a little bit of advice that will last forever as long as you play War Thunder. The big one is, in order to get better at this game, you have to play it. You can't just become good overnight. This is a skill that is acquired over time. That's why there's such a large skill gap between players in this game. The next piece of advice is, even when you sank years of your life into this game like I have, you will still be sniped from across the map from someone you didn't even know existed from a spot that you never even thought of. It's just going to happen. It's part of the War Thunder experience. So you can't get mad about it, so it's just a part of the game. And if you do find yourself starting to get mad while playing this game, just take a 20 to 30 minute break, or I like to go take like an hour-long nap or something, and that'll tend to help. We all know how much gaming consoles and PCs cost, so it's probably better to not break anything. Just take that little break, you'll feel a lot better afterwards. And try to stay in the game as long as you possibly can. Make sure to bring an AA, just in case you're low on spawn points, you can try to earn some of that back. Even if you're being spawn camped, just try to stay in the game as long as you can. You may be able to pick up a few free kills, which means extra research and extra Silver Lions. If you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any advice for any other players, leave it in the comments. I'd love to see it, and I will see you guys soon.